Hello, wonderful people. My name is Jessica, aka the Sacred Rebel. This podcast is dedicated to all the other sacred rebels out there, sacred women, and all of the above that are in need of a guiding light in their waking life and spirituality. This podcast will feature talks on spirituality, being a woman, traumas, self-development, meditations, as well as self-healing and all of the above. It is with love and compassion that I gift this podcast to the rest of the world, as it was never presented to me growing up. And it is my hope that this podcast will be the seed that is planted in someone else to basically be motivated to create a change within themselves that can be the change for the rest of the world. So kick back, relax, grab a cup of tea, and enjoy. Much love. Hello, wonderful people. My name is Jessica, aka the Sacred Rebel, and I'm back with another podcast video for you. Now, what's this? Damn it, sorry. Hello, wonderful people. My name is Jessica, aka the Sacred Rebel, and I am back with another podcast episode. Now, before I get into what I had already stated that I wanted to talk about for episode 3, I want to announce that I did a couple days ago start a GoFundMe to support this podcast, to kind of give it like a decent start. Now, my goal is to raise $500, and that is to cover any equipment that I need, such as noise canceling mic, headphones, any programs that I need to help out with better video and audio editing, especially the audio. I don't have my headphones in right now because everybody is quiet between the upstairs and downstairs, so I'm not going to have to worry much about the audio for this video. And a camera mount, if I did not already say that, I don't know. The camera mount does have a ring light on it because most of the time I'm unavailable during the day. I have free time in the evenings, and I need the ring light for a light when it's dark in the back room here. Now, the only light that I have is the window right here and this little light in the corner, and it's not enough. Unless I want to use the plant light, but it's purple, and I'm not going for like the stoner vibe, So I will share a link in the description below, and any donation does help, as well as any sharing does help. So if you can, that would be great. And thank you. So let's get into the episode. And this is probably the third time that I have filmed this. I did film it a couple days ago, but something told me that I could do better, so I deleted it. And the reason why this is the third time me filming it, because my camera ran out of space. Yeah. So I had to go back and delete some previous videos to make more room. But what I wanted to talk about is the twin flame universe, and boy, it is a mess. I'm not sure if many of you have Netflix or Prime, but last year, like sometime in November, October, Netflix and Prime dropped a mini docuseries. The names are, I believe, Escaping Twin Flames, and the other one is Desperately Seeking Soulmate, Escaping the Twin Flame Universe. I'll link or say the names below of both of the documentary series, and both of them surround the this community / website called the Twin Flames Universe, which I'm going to call it TFU from now on, so I won't have to keep saying the whole name. And the controversy is how people within the group were treated, as well as a couple of very, very creepy things that were going on within this group that I need a sip of water for before I start. Okay, so for those who don't know what a twin flame is, now a twin flame is, from what I've learned, they are basically a half of the soul. So your soul is like floating around in the ethers. When it decides to be born, reincarnated, it will sometimes split in half. That is your twin flame. It is your mirror. It is your other half. It's supposed to be your ultimate partner, your ultimate best friend. It's on a higher level than what a soulmate is to another person. And there's always this dynamic where the bond is so strong that it's actually scary, and one person will be running away from that bond because they're like, oh my god, I can't deal with this, and the other person is chasing, and vice versa, and you continue to run and chase each other until both of you can learn your lessons and surrender to love and drop all the walls and the acts and the mask, and then you guys will be together in divine harmonious union forever and ever and ever. That is something that I researched and learned on my own, because I've tried this journey. Didn't work out for me. This journey is not for the faint of heart, and it definitely had me in Deluluville thinking this one person was my twin flame, when in fact they were not. I was projecting what I wanted to believe because I felt very alone at the time when I did this many, many years ago. Will I do it again? No, it's not worth my time, honestly. And it could be dangerous to do this. So let's get to the point. Now, the Twin Flame Universe, or TFU, it was founded by this husband and wife couple named Jeff Ayon, or if I'm pronouncing that name right, and Shalala. I'm not sure if she adopted his last name, but her actual birth given name was Megan Plant. She's from Canada. They met in Hawaii, and they had like this whimsical love whirlwind type of thing happening, and that's when they believed that they were each other's twin flames. And so that's when, probably sometime after that point, maybe after a while, they decided to take that idea, the concept of the twin flame, and take it to the next level and adopt a business around it. Now, their business is they help you find your twin flame. They guarantee it. They guarantee that they will help you find your twin flame in your lifetime, and you will have this ultimate partner created by God with you, and no other partnerships matter but this person. Now, that looks good on paper. Obviously, we all want to be loved and feel love and be in love, as well as be a part of something bigger than ourselves, to feel like we're useful on this rock that we're floating on. But there are some right ways to go about when it comes to leading others, and there are some terrible ways. There's wrong ways, but there are some terrible ways, and they're basically on the terrible way list. And this is why. Now, as I'm watching, and I watch both series, I'm watching these episodes, the more I watch, the more cringe it is, because there's a lot of gaslighting, manipulation, a lot of hurtful words, a lot of disrespect between Jeff and Shalala to the people who are paying them money. And I'm talking about they're paying buco bucks to find their twin flame. This is not like some $100 program. These programs are like $6,000, $7,000, $2,000 that they're scraping out of their pocket to find their ultimate lover. Now, I know there's a concept of how far are you willing to go to get what you want, but that there are some limits. That's all I gotta say. There are some limits when it comes to like trying to find this other person. Now, the group, basically, they had their regular members, and then they had core members that were very loyal, that they appointed them as coaches. And then the coaches will make them money, and then they'll take the money, and here's how they were making part of their money. Now, when Jeff and Shalila ask you to be a coach, they expect you to basically be full-time with coaching. And I mean, like, they don't care if you have a job, they don't care if you have a family, kids, they don't care about any of that. They want you to be on call for them 24/7. That's kind of like some like Teal Swan deep end shit, and that's a different docuseries that I'll talk about in a later video. And it got bad to the point where some of these people could not hold their jobs and pay their bills because they're busy doing coaching business for Jeff and Shalila. And this is how this has got a little deeper with this. Now, they were convinced that with the money that they're making, that they have to reinvest this money back into them for continuous training. And so they'll just end up with nothing but pennies in their pocket. And that is like a really good pyramid scheme right there, is that like, oh, by the way, we need you to basically do this training program. Why are you doing this level? You need to go up several levels so you have like the ultimate package. And they didn't care if people were broke or not. People would be like, hey, look, I have a light bill that needs to be paid. It's going to get cut off. I'm broke. Oh, so you don't want this. You don't want to see your twin flame. You don't want to help other people find your twin flames. Oh, we get it. They'll do like weird shit to gaslight them between like video conference calls and text messaging. And then sometimes, like, if a person wasn't complying to Jeff, he will make them sit on the video call with them, kind of like putting a person in a timeout corner. He will make them sit, and they'll be there for like forever, for like hours. And he'll sit and just stare at you. And this is like some reconditioning training until you like give up, like, okay, I'll fucking do this. Okay. And that is like some weird mental manipulation shit, because that's breaking down your faculties. That's breaking down, you already established a boundary. This doesn't make sense. I don't want to do this. And then a person will continue to like annoy you to the point where you're just like, you give up because you don't feel like being right there anymore. But yeah, they were like stealing people's money by convincing them to reinvest back into the program. And let me tell you where that money went. It went to their house. They got a big ass house somewhere, I think it's in like Michigan or something like that. They have a fancy cars. I think he got himself a Porsche. Shalila's getting like Prada bags and shit and Gucci, and they flaunt that shit with what they get, while their coaches are broke as fuck, trying to basically eat bread and syrup and make it last for the rest of the week. Now, that right there is like surface level. Now we're going to get into like the deep shit. Now, what really was cringy about this group, the TFU group, was the mental manipulation of getting people to comply with what you want them to do. And a good example would be this poor young girl. She was still in her late teens. I think she was like 18, 19. She was paired up with this other guy that was supposed to be what the Lord told Jeff and Shalil, that's her twin flame. And that this guy was much, much older than her. And she was very uncomfortable. And she tried to voice that discomfort. And then they basically publicly egged her on during a Zoom call in front of all the other members. And so she felt ashamed that she basically was denying this person. But she knew deep down this person was not her twin flame, but Jeff and Shalila convinced her otherwise. No, that is your twin flame. The Lord told us, that's it. And the fucked up part about this was this dude had mental health issues up the ass, unchecked. Like, he had several screws loose, and he was not getting any help from any doctors, not taking any medications, nothing. He was just running rampant. And they had problems in their relationship, like deep problems. And it got bad to the point where there's been times where she'll have to call the police because she's scared of this guy or what he may do to her. And so when she tried to convey that to Jeff and Shalila, they tried to give her like, oh, you didn't surrender enough. You gotta like surrender more. You gotta like open your heart more. That's why he's having all these problems. They basically told her that it was her fault that homeboy was having all these problems. And she was convinced that was true. And she was very conflicted. She conflicted as well. I wish somebody would tell me that somebody else's mental health issue is happening because of me. I wish somebody would tell me that. I'm sorry. No. Go to therapy. Go to therapy. Now, there was a point in time in this group where they were actually like convincing people that when they did have an idea of who their twin flame was, and then they'll say, well, this person said that they don't like me in that sense and they just want to be left alone, or they're in another relationship, that Jeff and Shalila will convince them, oh no, you gotta be more aggressive than that. You gotta like take them. You gotta go show up at their house, their work, their jobs, their mama's house. You gotta be there and you gotta jump on it. And they'll like convince them to like keep pursuing people who clearly say, no, I don't want any contact with you. To the point where people are not only like blocking them on everything, they also filing restraining orders, and they're also like threatening them, like, if you don't stop talking to me, I'm going to X, Y, and Z. There was one woman who was a member of the group. She actually went to jail because she showed up in the same place that this person that she thought was her twin flame, they freaking told her that she needs to keep going after this person despite that restraining order. He was like, the restraining order is nothing. She and homeboy were in the same space, and he called the cops and she went to jail. Where was Jeff and Shalila? Nowhere to be found. They were like, well, we didn't tell you to do this. Like, they do that shit. They're like, we didn't say that. What are you talking about? It's like when somebody says something and you heard them correctly the first time, and then you go back and be like, did you say this? And they'd be like, no, why would I do that? Then there are some people who actually knew that they said that, but they were testing them out. And then there's people who second guess themselves, like, well, I thought that's the people that they basically latch on to, is vulnerable people. And that is a huge problem that I have with like the spiritual community and people who do shit like this, is the mental manipulation, the coercion. There were people in this group, in the TFU group, that, here's another story. So the current members, the members in the group, they were getting upset because they still haven't found their twin flame and they were paying all this money. So what Jeff and Shalila came up with, this gimmick, that the Lord talked to them and came to them and said, we know who each other twin flames are and you must spread the word. And so they came up with a list of pairing people together who were divine masculine and divine feminine, or twin flames. But here's the catch. The majority of the group were women. A lot of them were straight women. And they convinced these straight women that, hey, guess what? You are a divine masculine, and that is your divine feminine partner. And it didn't even stop there. It got to the point where they were telling the people who were supposedly portraying the male figure of the relationship, of the union, they had to change their name to adopt a male name. Male clothes, they had to wear that. Hairstyles, they had to cut their hair, be more male, man like. And it got to the point where some were actually convinced to do gender reassignment surgeries. And I'm all for when people know what they want to do with their body and who they are as their identity. But when you have somebody like breathing down your neck and into your ear, them telling you you are this, and it didn't stop there, they will constantly berate these people and really gaslight them into believing that, oh, wait, I guess I am a man. I guess I do have to basically go surgically enhance myself to basically portray to fit in that male role. And I find that very disgusting. I find it disgusting when these spiritual gurus convince people that they know way what's best for them. There's a difference between knowing what's best for a person for their own personal good and having that person come up with that conclusion, and then directly telling the person, like, I'm the guru, I know what's good for you, you can't tell me nothing because you don't know anything, you came to me, so that's it. It's kind of like that do as I say, not as I do type of shit, and I don't like that shit. I've encountered that multiple times with other people when they try to convince me into like, oh, you are this, and I'm like, no. Like, yeah, maybe there are times where I feel off, but I know for a fact that this is not who I am. This is just an off day. And a lot of people who are looking for love, who are looking for a community, they get taken advantage of monetarily and mentally. And I want to basically be like that shield of, I want to lead people, but at the same time, I don't want to be a leader. I want people to start leading themselves. Like, hey, look, I can show and tell you how to do certain things, but by the end of the day, it's really up to you, because I'm not trying to have control over people. Me personally, I'm trying to basically show you that you have the control. This is your within your scope of practice, within your power. And these type of spiritual gurus, they just snatch that power, and they do it early. They snatch that power away from that person, and then it makes it harder for the person to actually see what's going on. I actually had a friend, I'm not sure if he's still part of it, but he was a part of the TFU universe. And I was always wondering why he was so aggressive with me when it came to talks about twin flames, because we didn't agree with a lot of things what he was saying. I didn't agree with him. And he would get upset, and then he'll like try to gaslight me and try to tell me, oh, you don't know what a twin flame relationship looks like. Oh, you don't know this and that because you have all these like past childhood trauma and upsets. And here's the thing, I never even sat up here and told him about like any childhood traumas or anything like that. He just made that assumption. He was just like sitting right there trying to gaslight me, but it was only really just pissing me off even further because, again, you're telling me who I am, but I know who I am. If I don't know all the parts, that's okay, but you can't sit right there and tell me who I am or why I'm a certain way because you don't know yourself. But after watching videos of Jeff in rare form, Jeff and Shalala, now I understand why my old friend was very aggressive with like the twin flame stuff, especially after when I told him that a certain person that he believed that was his twin flame wasn't. and he couldn't take that. So as to what he's doing right now, I don't know. I dropped that friendship like years ago, about like maybe 2.5 years ago, because it was getting toxic to the point where he was trying to like convince me that I'm wasting my talent, I'm being a waste of space. But that's a different story. But yeah, like between like manipulating people and then also coercing people to do certain things, um, they took advantage of like certain people. They will see like if there was a two sets of couple that were the perfect couple, they'll take that and they'll use that couple as like their poster child for their business. Oh yeah, you can find your twin flames. We have a twin flame couple right here. And there was another person that was a trans person. It was a trans woman, and they basically took advantage of that woman's image. Oh yeah, we're LGBTQ friendly and all the above. We have this trans woman right here enjoying her journey. And it's like they knew what was going on, but they didn't say anything at first until they caught on. And the one thing that's terrible is like if you don't listen to if you don't do what exactly Jeff tells you to do, he will not only harass you over video, he will harass you in the text, and it'd be like awful. It is awful. And again, like I said, people like this, they're dangerous. They claim to not be a cult, but that is a cult. Coercion, manipulation, basically annoying people to the point of exhaustion so they can do what you want them to do for you. And then like they had a couple of people living in their basement doing all of the housework, everything. And these were people who were supposed to be coaches. And I think what happened was they took on the full-time role of being a coach. They couldn't pay the rent. And so Jeff is like, oh, why don't you live over here? You can live with us for a while. It'll be a special program. You just got to do a couple things. And I'm telling you, these people they're basically the help of the house. That's what they are. They are the legit help. They're the maids and butlers that maintain the houses while Shalil can play around her makeup all day and Jeff can just ride around in his goddamn sports car. And I think that's disgusting. I mean, I'm all about being weighted hand and foot, but I'm not going to be the reason why you lost your house or your apartment. I'm not going to do that. Like if you want to like serve me, pamper me, I'm all for it, as long as like it's reciprocated in the correct way. But I'm not going to sit right there and have somebody living in my fucking basement. What the fuck? But yeah, it is definitely a good documentary series. There's definitely like more information that I can talk about, but I'm gonna leave that as is. That I just got through all the main points, all the stories of the people there, of what they individually suffered. It's heart-wrenching. It's heart-wrenching, and they just all these people just wanted to find love. That's all they wanted, was to find love and be loved. And we got jackasses like these two that are just messing everything up. And this is why a lot of people are scared to come to ask anyone for help, because they're worried about them being taken advantage of. And the only thing I can say about this is that if you are the type of person that you consider yourself vulnerable, when it comes to looking and seeking spiritual help, really research the person that you are looking into. Research them first. Really look into it. Look at like their websites, their posts, see what other members are doing, like really research into them. And then have a one-on-one conversation with them. Like talk to them and see what's up. And then if you do happen to join into a group and seem good at first, but then like there's some weird shit that's going on, it is okay to leave. It is okay to cancel that subscription, to get up out of that weird relationship. Because the moment that someone starts being disrespectful to me, gone. I don't care how much of a spiritual guru you are, how enlightened you are, or how many like plant medicine ceremonies you sat. The moment you don't show compassion to me, on the axe block, goodbye. I ain't got time for that. I ain't got time. I'm not paying you to disrespect me or belittle me or try to take advantage of me. And it makes me so happy that I did not join that group, because I did have like a little inkling to like check it out. But at the same time, something deep down told me, Jess, this ain't it. Because, whoo, he will hate my ass. I got a mouth. I may be shy sometimes, but I got a mouth, especially when I get annoyed. I can be annoying too. We'll both be sitting in the room staring at each other. But that is it for this episode. Hopefully this will give you like some insights of what's going on in this like waking world, even though like some of it is quite fudged up. So until then, I'll see you next time. Bye.